The following is a RackRadioShow.com exclusive.
Joining us right now is former WWE and TNA superstar, the leader of the congregation, the one and only, the Pope, Elijah Burke. Welcome to The Rack.
Wow, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's such a pleasure to talk to you, and we're super excited because we know that you're working with a great friend of ours, Matt Goldberg, on his new project, Wounded.
Matt, let me tell you, I know he may be a great friend of your guys, but hey, me and the kid go back. You know, we're fortunate enough to do some work behind the scenes with Matt and TNA, and yeah, he's a great guy, and I'm happy to be doing the work with him on the film.
Well, that's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about Wounded and kind of what attracted you to the project?
Well, Wounded is it's a really cool, deep, and when I say deep, it's really, really deep film about these five brothers who all have their different struggles after dealing with abuse coming up. And I don't want to give too much of it away, but I will say that each brother dealt with the abuse in their own way. And my character, who I played, his name is Jeff, and you know, he was led to alcoholism, and you know, he was abusive to his wife, and he went to therapy and everything. He went to therapy one time and just walked out because it was just too much for him. And I think this film is really gonna hit home with a lot of people. It really touches on a subject that a lot of people don't like to address because we all have or know of someone within our family or maybe friends who have been abused in their own home. You know, kids going to school abused, you know, whether that's physically, whether that's sexually, mentally, but, you know, they're being abused. And it's a topic, especially amongst men being abused, which, you know, we don't hear about enough. We don't talk about enough because boys grow up to be men and they feel like they always have to stay silent. Just to say, I've been abused or I've been sexually abused or whatnot, to say that in this day and age especially, one will feel like it kills their manhood, it kills their credit, you know, it vetoes their man card. So when I read the script, it sent chills through my body because, like I just said, we all know someone. We are all onlookers, if not someone who have been through it ourselves, so we know about this type of stuff going on. So once I read it, I was on board, and again, just to reunite and do some work with Matt Goldberg, who, by the way, did a documentary on the Pope when I was in TNA and got accepted in Cannes Film Festival. And I mean, I know it's going to be something really good.
Well, I hope so. And you know, speaking of Pope Against All Odds, you know, what was that project like for you? Because I think that was your first foray kind of into filmmaking as a whole, wasn't it?
Right. Well, that was cool because it was documentary format, and it was just what you see was what you got. So I didn't have to really do much anything except be who I am, you know. And Matt, you know, Matt Goldberg, he was the one that, you know, put the spins on it and you know, got what he wanted to get from it, followed me behind the scenes, and it just turned out to be an amazing piece of work. So anytime that I could help him out and definitely take part in something that he's a part of, I believe in him. I believe in him. I mean, you guys know his work as well, so I think it's just great.
I keep telling him we want our Oscar shout out when he wins it, because one day he's going to be up there.
Someday. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. The kid has an enormous amount of talent. I mean, he's already, you know, like he interned with us. He worked behind the scenes at TNA, and then he went on to work, you know, for WWE as well. His animation skills, and I don't know what it's really called. He's probably going to kill me for it, but whatever he does with those videos, with the figures and everything, I mean, the kid is brilliant. He really is.
Yeah, the stop motion animation.
That's what it's called, stop motion animation. I got it right, Matt.
We got you covered, man. We got you covered.
I appreciate it. He just told me this a couple of days ago too.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So, aside from Wounded, are you involved in any other projects right now?
I am currently working on getting involved in another one. We're in talks. There's a military film that's coming out. I'm trying to spoke with some producers about it, and we're trying to see if everything's going to work out. Because Pope got a head full of hair on his big head. So I know most military films, they want you to, cut your hair and be clean cropped, and we're just trying to iron out some details and see what's what, and if it's worth it, and if it's going to benefit both parties, and then it'll happen. Right now, my main goal, if I may say so, has been trying to finish the necessities when it comes to my charity, the Love Alive charity. That's something I've been working on vigorously all year. Me and my partner, who she's very wonderful. She helps me out with everything basically. So it's been really, really a journey, but it's not about I don't know. I'll just say that the journey's been something else, and I think we're going to be there by the end of this year. And when I say be there, I'm talking about the destination.
Right.
And that's getting that 501c3, getting it down so that we can be solidified. We're already in as a nonprofit. We're just working on getting all this paperwork from Tallahassee, Florida together, so we can, it's so much, and they are relentless as far as all the information that you got to have, and every single question has to be answered in page form. And I don't have a committee yet. I just have a couple of trustees that work with me on this, but the bottom line is me and my partner, she and I are we're working to get it done. We feed people from Burger King every year. I want to make it more than one time a year, and I want to get some investors on board, get some sponsors rather, from some huge companies in Jacksonville to make this thing bigger than what it is. So and that's coming.
That sounds wonderful. So is it going to be more of like a soup kitchen type setup, or are you going to be more of a food pantry?
Well, that's what I don't want to be, because there's too many of those already.
Right.
And I commend those guys. I really, really do, because somebody has to do it. But when that fell upon me, when I felt compelled to do something, I wanted to. I travel through my hometown all the time. I see homeless, and our homeless community is literally more gathered together in the downtown area of Jacksonville, Florida. So I see this all the time. So what I decided to do when I first started the Love Alive charity 3 years ago, or 3 years ago, we go to Burger King, and I met with the general managers, and we came to, an agreement, and they have this huge lot behind them, this huge field. And, you can, if anybody who listens to this wants to learn about it, they can go to theElijahExpress.com, by the way, or you can go to Pope TV, the number 4, the letter U, on YouTube, and it will pull it up, and you can see what I'm talking about. But there's this huge lot, and I feed them Burger King. They make it hot for me, and we make about 100, and they'll bring it out, and everyone, we pass out tickets, and we make sure everybody that's out there in that line get fed. And if I have to go back in there for more, then I do. We have desserts, we have drinks, we have snacks, we have indigent packages, and I just thought that I would give them something that we oftentimes take for granted, because we can stop to a fast food restaurant. Most of us are fortunate enough, I should say, to stop to a fast food restaurant at any time that we feel the need to, or we don't want to cook today, and we can get that Burger King, or we can get that McDonald's, and sometimes we don't even finish it.
Right.
We can just, I'm done with it, or it's cold, I throw it away. And so one day I was riding through, and I know people don't finish their meals, because I wouldn't see a homeless guy going into McDonald's trash eating. So that tells me that people take it for granted, and they throw their food away. And sometimes it's not that one is necessarily taking it for granted, but we don't realize the importance of those extra fries or that half-eaten burger, because somebody else would love to have it.
Right.
So I decided to. I didn't want to feed them out of a kitchen. I went to the shelters. I went to the women's shelters, the homeless shelters. I see what they eat down there. A lot of times it's comparable to the same jail food that I had to watch inmates eat when I was working in the jail. So I just wanted to do something different. I really wanted to be a blessing to them and say, hey, somebody cares enough for you not to feed you a cold cut sandwich, or not to give you a cold salad, or not to feed you soup out of the back of a truck. So, and
that's a wonderful, wonderful thing that you're doing. I have to commend you for that.
Thank you very much.
And we need more people like that in the world.
Amen.
So, everybody, go check it out. Love Alive.
Hey, that's right. The Love Alive charity, which is on theElijahExpress.com. It has our mission statement. You can learn more about it. The website will be updated as soon as we get all this paperwork done. We're going to do a huge transformation of the website, or set up a website of its own. And also you can go to youtube.com/Pope TV 4 letter U.
Go check it out. So kind of transitioning back to Wounded, are you kind of maybe thinking of moving away from wrestling and going more towards acting? Or are you kind of looking to do both? Or
Well, I've been wanting to do the whole acting, and you don't worry about transitioning, Daddy. Pope will follow you wherever you go, okay?
Okay.
So you just do what you want to do. I'm here. I'm here for you. I've been trying to, I've been cutting my teeth, rather, I should say, for the last, couple of years or so, 4 or 5 years maybe, even during my last days with TNA. And gosh, I even hate that you asked that, because there was this huge film that I was working on when I was absent in my last year, of TNA. And that was called Django Unchained. And I was on set for about 3 months, 3 whole months. And I don't know if you saw that movie, because I haven't. But most of the fighters or mandingos or whatever they were called in the film, the black slaves and all that, they looked rough. So I just want to let you know, imagine how, I look with a head full of hair on my head, out looking like alfalfa. I'm talking about just a lot of hair and all this facial hair, and I can't shave, and I couldn't have my hair in a neat style or pattern. For 3 whole months, I had to go around New Orleans like that, or New Orleans, or whatever they call that place, NOLO. But I had to go around looking like that 3 whole months, and then all of a sudden, I get a call while I'm on set working for Quentin Tarantino, who, by the way, hand-selected me to be Leonardo DiCaprio's head mandingo. So I was supposed to be his guy, his prize, or one of his prize fighters. I remember reading the script and everything, and I remember going down, and they say, they showed me this wall about 8 guys or 12, not 12 guys, I don't know, 12, 16 guys on the wall. They showed me the 4 pictures that that Quentin Tarantino selected, and I was one of them. He wanted to have me on it. So I was doing the film, and I got a call from TNA. They wanted to bring me back for Battle Royal, for the beginning of the BFG series, and that was on a Thursday live Impact. And unfortunately, we hadn't started my face shots yet, my close-ups, my verbiage, if I had any. We hadn't started that yet. So when I was told I had to fly from New Orleans and fly into TNA, they decided that they would get me back, TNA that is. They said, we'll fly you right back out, as soon as the show's over with, so you can make it back for, Django. But Django, who producers were telling me, we haven't filmed in a couple of days. Leonardo's been out sick. It's been raining. We may film today, and we really need you here today. I mean, This is the day we really need you. So if something happens and you leave, we start to film, we're going to have the backup take your spot. So just be aware of that. They kept telling me it's going to be a huge film. It's going to be huge. This is Quentin Tarantino. It's going to be big. And so, pretty much I had to be loyal to my bread and butter, which was TNA. And out of loyalty, I went back to do it. And the very day that I was getting prepared for the show, as we were going over it, I was by Dixie Carter, and I got a phone call saying, Elijah, I'm so sorry, but we don't need you anymore. We're using your, our backup. So it kind of hurt me that they've decided they're going to film today, and we talked about it, so we're sorry. So it kind of screwed me out of a good little footstep, if you will, as far as advancing myself, and having a great role, having my name in the credits. I would have been able to appear on the red carpet, and I'm just, it left kind of a sour taste in my mouth. But I felt that I had to be loyal to TNA at the time, and that's what I did. And I can't really say I regret it, but I just wish that I had a lot of more support, and I wish that the upper management would have understood what this could have meant, not just for me, but for the company to have one of their stars involved in this big project.
Right.
It would have been great. It would have been great.
Yeah, because that was a huge movie.
Right. And to this day, I still haven't watched it.
I can imagine that would be a little, painful to watch because it's...
Yeah, I refuse to. So to answer your question, yes, I've been veering to the movie side. I did some TV shows with Tyler Perry. I did For Better or Worse, and I did Necessary Roughness for USA. So I've been working. We just, just going into acting. It's not about whether or not you can. I'll say act. I mean, that's not the issue. It's just working vigorously to find the opportunity, and it's all about timing with everything. So if the opportunity presents itself, I'm there.
Oh yeah. It's all about who you know and getting your foot in the door.
Right. Absolutely. And trust me, when it comes to quote unquote Hollywood, that is not easy at all.
No, I can imagine.
It's not easy.
Do you ever see yourself getting back in the ring someday, or?
Absolutely. Right now, my goal is to, I don't know, I kind of at this point, because a lot of people ask me that all the time. And at this point, it's kind of like, I feel like Hogan, never say never, brother. Getting ready for one more run, brother.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. I mean, I'm still in my prime, if you will, and I'm ready. And it's just all about, again, opportunity presenting itself, and it's about timing. I had some contact made to Triple H. I had some words given to and from Triple H as far as returning to WWE. And right now it's just about, I assume, timing. So if that's definitely, I want to go back home to home being where I started. And I would love to finish up my career there. I'm not done by a long shot. And for the record, even though I have that sour taste as far as the movie goes, I just said when I was with TNA, but I had a blast, absolute blast. I mean, everybody said it at the time. Of course, everybody. Hold on. Everybody said it at the time as far as putting over TNA and the atmosphere and how great it is. People are always going to say the right thing when they're under contract.
Right.
And as soon as they leave, they bash the poor people, or they talk about the company, in so many unflattering ways. But I can truly say that I had a blast. Yeah, there were bad times as far as unorganization and who's in charge this week, and whatever some of the other people have said. But when it came to the locker room atmosphere, when it came to the family setting, the family atmosphere aspect of TNA, it was great. I mean, it really was great. Relaxed, just be respectful. Don't have to. Nobody's walking on eggshells. So it was an absolute pleasure, And but when that year after a lot of the ups and downs and the stop and goes, and contract came up, and I was gracious, and I thanked Miss Dixie Carter, and that was it.
Well, just speaking from me personally, I would love to see you back in any capacity, because I enjoy what you do. I love your work. I always felt like you kind of got a little shortchanged the first time in WWE, and then when you went to TNA, you were amazing. So it was like, and then you left. And I was like, oh.
Oh, wow. Thank you so kindly. I appreciate that. And, now they got, we've all heard about over and over the youth movement and all these younger, athletic daredevils that they're bringing up now. And, I think it's good, but I'm good in either way. I would love, I just found out that Taz left TNA for whatever reason, and I wasn't aware of that till I got the text. And I wouldn't mind doing commentary, but obviously my heart is in the ring. But any way that I can contribute, I would love to. I would love to. And so don't count me out. Don't think that I'm done, because God knows I am not done by a long shot.
Well, you mentioned Triple H, and we follow you on Twitter at @TheBlackPope. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts on Triple H and Sting.
Wrestlemania?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that was that did it for me. Wrestlemania is huge, all by itself, but that is the match that I was looking forward to the most. That was the one that had my attention. I worked with Steve, obviously, in TNA for so long. As far as the 4.5 years that I was there, and whatnot, and I absolutely loved the guy. He was cool. We are a like mind. We share the same beliefs as far as our discussions and everything go. And I was really excited for him. I remember us having a conversation about that WrestleMania moment. And, I'm forever grateful that, this young up-and-comer, a year and a half into my WWE, run, or a year into it, I don't know how long it was, about a year and a half, that I had the opportunity to go out there in front of, to this day, I believe the second largest crowd, WrestleMania, in Ford Field, Detroit. If somebody's in there listening, they can pull that up and verify it for me. But I believe it was, Pontiac had 93 and Ford Field had 87.
Yeah, so I believe that's right.
Yeah, so I had I was able to go out, going into my second year with WWE and be in front of the second largest crowd. And if you watch that match, I walked out there and I just looked around and I thought, wow, thank you, Lord, I was just very happy that I had that opportunity. I'm standing on the apron and they're wrestling on the inside of the ring. I think Matt Stryker is getting the boots put to him, and I'm just looking around at the audience like, wow. So I shared that with Steve, and I just told him how grateful I was. And I said, you deserve it. I was fortunate, and I never take anything for granted. I will never take that moment for granted. But I was telling him, you deserve it, man. And I'm sure he's had that conversation several times with everybody else. I'm not saying that I took credit. I'm trying to take credit for Sting doing what he did, but he was always reluctant about it for whatever reason. But I'm glad he did do it because he does deserve it. I respect Steve a lot. Sting, that is, for everybody. I respect him a lot. And I regret that I didn't get a chance to have the match with him. I mean, I worked with him. I tagged with him, and, we ran together in TNA's version of the Wolfpack.
Right.
And I got a chance to go out there and work in the ring with Hogan and get side by side with him. And I got a chance to get physical with Ric Flair again, whom I love. But I never got the chance to put the boots to Sting, and I would have loved to have done that. And so that'd be, him and Dusty Rhodes. That'd just be something that I'll always dream of. As far as the match goes, I loved it. I wish that he would have pulled the Tommy Dreamer and put some spray back there on his head. I was watching it, and I was more concerned about his hair flying up. I mean, my people.
Oh, thank God I wasn't the only one.
Yes, my brothers were laughing at me because every time the camera would hit his bald spot, I would cringe and I would say, "Switch the camera," because WWE is good at, they used to do that with Flair all the time. They would hit those buttons to change from it so they don't show his, thinning hair.
Right.
But I switch the camera, change it. Steve, pull your hair down. Pull it down, I just didn't know why. And I know he knows because he spoke about it. So, I mean, I don't know if he cared or didn't, but for a lot of the people, WWE is pushing all, these Sting DVDs out and showing a Crow Sting, and they've introduced Sting on WWE television, and they did a wonderful job. 5 months, however long it was, and they instantly made this guy special, the icon that he is. And I just, especially for us fans who grew up with watching Sting and the Crow character, I don't know if the bald spot was a good look. I mean, it could be argued, but I'm just saying. So I wish he would have pulled the Tommy Dreamer and just sprayed something back there. So at least when his hair flew up, I mean, it may have shown, but it wouldn't have been. I mean, it was light out there, so it was sparkling. It was shiny. It looked completely bald.
Yeah, it didn't look good. It was kind of like, oh.
Yeah, oh no.
It's kind of like whenever you see Sean's.
Mm-hmm.
And you just cringe, and you're like, oh.
Right. Same thing. And I mean, it's just a part of getting up in age. But at the same time, if you see the Crow character, on television, and I don't know if that's the greatest example. I don't know what superheroes are. If you see Superman on television or in the movies, and he has a bald spot, you're gonna go, "Hey, wait a minute, Superman got a bald spot." And I think I can compare Sting to Superman. I mean, Sting was the Superman of WCW, and he came in as that same hero to go up against Triple H. I didn't like the fact that they, the commentators and everything, started making it about the Sting trying to put them out of business, because that wasn't the storyline.
Right.
The storyline, and especially the promo that he had just cut a week or two before that, he said, for me to come in here and fight for WCW, that would be stupid. That's 14 years ago. I'm not here to fight for WCW or defend the honor of WCW. I'm here to take you out.
Right.
And so that to me, that should have been the story, but it seems like for whatever, I know why they did it, I assumed, and that was to the lead into the whole DX NWO play, to get them involved, I guess, and that was to help tell that story. But at the same time, it kind of made Sting, even though he was the good guy, it started casting a certain shadow on him, in my opinion. Because WWE fans are very loyal, and they're WWE fans. And if you're telling the fans, the WWE universe, hey, he tried to put us out of business, then, it's kind of like, to those that are watching, at least, it's like, I don't know. I hate Triple H, but Triple H has a point. He has a valid point to be doing all he can to beat Sting, because this guy tried to put them out of business. So I was just a little confused on that. But again, I love the match. I love the DX involvement, and when Hogan and the NWO came out, it was great. However, and I'm sure this is why you're asking, that finish. the finish was what it was, and I can accept the finish. I can accept Sting losing. Didn't like the fact that he lost because, but it doesn't. It wouldn't. I don't know. It didn't. I think it. People say the finish doesn't matter. You know, you can live past it, but I think it wouldn't have hurt Triple H to lose. It wouldn't have hurt Triple H because he is who he is, and a heel can always come back out and make an excuse.
Right.
But to have Sting lose and then have nothing to say about it in the manner that he lost, and did the interview following Raw, and there was nothing to say about it, like it's all forgotten. It's just done.
Yeah.
Like it's just, man. Like I didn't get that part either. And obviously the main part was the fact that he got hit with the sledgehammer and he got up and shook the man's hand.
Yeah.
It just I can't wrap my mind around it. Because wrestling, what we do is cause one to suspend their disbelief. So we want you to be wrapped up into the story. And me as a worker, but fan first, I was wrapped up in that. There was not a more compelling story for me than that match. I was locked in. I was a kid again, and I was watching. I was saddened when Sting lost, and when the handshake happened, the worker in me took the kid and said, "Go to the room. This is about business." And I went, "What the hell?"
Right.
You know, so it was like, God, what? I mean, I would have preferred for him to just stand there and look at him, or walk up to him and do the NWO cross chop. You know, like something. Yeah, but I didn't. Maybe it was just saying, good job, it's your Wrestlemania moment, but I didn't think that was a time for a curtain call, if you will.
Yeah, it felt a little weird.
Yeah, and it did nothing for. I mean, truth be told, he just lost, and Ric Flair used to say it all. I mean, he said it so well. Back in 1995, Sting and Ric Flair Halloween Havoc one more time. And people will always say how Sting was Ric Flair's whooping boy. Well, obviously it was vice versa to be true. But Sting always failed. Sting, I remember reading some stuff way back and years ago, how Sting is the most quoted now. This is not me saying, but it was quoted that Sting was the most gullible babyface in the history of wrestling. How many times did he go back and allow Ric Flair to double cross him? Just look at history,
Yeah.
So he will always let Ric Flair, and one of them that I just really love was the 1995 Halloween Havoc when Sting, Flair, and Anderson had their match at Fall Brawl, and they had their falling out, and it was Anderson and Pillman leading up to a whole Sting and Flair, and Sting goes, "I'm telling you, Flair, if you cross me, I'm going to get you." Flair, "No, brother, it's me and you. For life, we're going to do it." And sure enough, Flair comes out there. He doesn't show up for the match. It's Sting versus Pillman and Anderson by himself. And I don't know if you remember that, but Sting runs out there. Flair runs out to make the save. Sting makes the tag. Flair gets in there and just clocks Sting. It was probably one of the greatest setups for a Horseman return that there was. And that's when they did the whole Flair, Anderson, Pillman, and Chris Benoit. Yeah, pretty cool.
He has faith in people. We can say that. He has a lot of faith in people.
Right, he really does.
He's not gullible. He just has faith.
Yeah, let's go with that. That sounds a lot better than what they had wrote, but absolutely. But I really enjoyed that match, and I enjoyed obviously the whole card was great, but I enjoyed the main event as well with Brock and Roman Reigns. That was pretty interesting.
And just out of curiosity, would you be one of the ones interested in Sting versus Taker next year?
I think they have to do that. If you're wanting to sell, I would love for Sting to cut his hair at this point too. I would like, Sting he's so great at reinventing himself. And I get back to your question. Sting is so great at reinventing himself. He come back in there with like a Mohawk style haircut, even if it's just on top like Hannibal. Or something like that. and new face paint. I don't know. I mean, it all depends, because there's certain things. I believe Sting would have came out there looking totally different if he could, but from a marketing standpoint and figures and everything that is going on with WWE, I can only assume they wanted to keep him in that black and white, look. So I think Sting he's very smart. At least Steve, the guy behind Sting. We just talked about Sting and his vulnerability and gullibility and his trust in people. But Steve is very smart, and if he chose to change his look up, it clicked with fans because he's just that good. But
right.
I believe if they're going to try to sell out, or at least get 100,000 people into Dallas Stadium, then they definitely have to do Sting versus Taker. One last time, or retirement versus retirement, or just a retirement match for both of them. But they got to do that. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. They have to do that. Rock is obviously going to be on the card. I could probably, we can see Brock versus Rock too.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to put him on top of the card. And, yeah. And Undertaker versus Sting got to happen, and they're probably, if they're smart, they'll throw, which I know that they are. That's one thing when it comes to WrestleMania, WWE pull out all the stops. So they'll probably somehow, some way get Austin on board, and for that one last match too. I don't see no other way of it happening. But I do think they're capable of doing it. As far as the 100,000 people in that arena stadium.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to sell out that many people, you gotta pull out all the stops.
Got to pull out all the stops, baby. You got to.
Well, Elijah, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone, you can go check out Wounded in terms of donations, because they are filming right now. They do need help, so go to Indiegogo.com, look up Wounded-Film, and you can make your donation there. They're accepting all forms of financial compensation or financial assistance, so please go help, because it's going to be an amazing project.
Absolutely, and as I said before, and I didn't mention, I mean, they were able to get Tommy Ford, who's best known for his role in Martin, and they have him on board. And, they were able to get me and everything. And they can really use the help. And I'm glad that you mentioned that on Indiegogo.com. Please go support that film. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great PSA. And also, when you guys get time, please go to theElijahExpress.com, learn about the Love of Life charity. You can follow me on Facebook.com/Elijah Burke. Or you can go follow me on Twitter at the Black Pope on Twitter. Also, please go to Pope TV, the number 4, the letter U, and check out all the cool videos that are posted there for your entertainment pleasure.
Yes. Go check all that out, because it's amazing. So